NBA free agents are cashing in during this free agent frenzy around the league. What does that mean for the current and future state of professional basketball? My good buddy Ronald Agers of ESPN's Hoop Troop Network stopped by on Canada Day to give you all the latest information you need to know on the news happening around the association. News recently broke that Kevin Love signed a 5-year, $110 million contract to remain in Cleveland. How surprised are you? He's back with the Cavaliers.
I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised, but a lot of this is going to be because a lot of outlets were saying that LeBron and Kevin Love didn't get along, and at times it looked like they weren't getting along. Obviously, Kevin Love being introduced to the finals, watching the games from the bench, he sees something special. Sometimes, I think what he said in Minnesota, I want to win. I guess now we can see that he is serious because you can hear the players like Allen Iverson, even though I love him to death, just say, all I want to do is win a championship. All I want to do is win a championship, but didn't want to do what it took to win a championship. Kevin Love obviously is showing, signing this 5-year long-term deal, that he is serious about winning and being a champion. I guess LeBron ain't going anywhere. Obviously not going to go anywhere. I mean, he got all the power, and he pretty much knows what's going on all the way up to the ownership off. So I mean, I don't see him going anywhere.
You also have to take into account the fact that LeBron wants to take full advantage of the new television money coming into the league in 2016. So it's fair to say that he is staying put.
No, I really don't. Now, will he still sign a 1-year deal? Oh yeah, he any decision he makes that LeBron James is making right now is around that TV deal that's going to happen in 2016. A lot of players are doing that. I think that's the pretty much the storyline of the free agency going on right now. What type of deal do you want to take? Do you want to take the 5-year deal? Do you want to take the 1-year deal and wait for the TV deal and gamble like Jimmy Butler did last year? Do you want it? Because he made that in vogue. In other words, we're going to wait 1 year, play it out. Tristan Thompson doing the same thing. We're going to let this offer sit on the table, see if I can play myself into more money. So right now, that's the new thing going on right now from players around the league right now. Do I want to do a 1-year deal? Do I want to do a 2-year deal? Do I want to do a short-term deal, wait for the big money and cash in later?
Outside of LeBron James and Kevin Love, what do you believe is the biggest off-season storyline in the NBA?
Believe it or not, and a lot of people are going to say this guy is crazy for saying this, Lance Stevenson being traded to the Clippers.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Think about it. When the Charlotte Hornets signed him last year, they thought he was going to be the LeBron stopper. They thought he was going to be the guy to get them over the top. He was atrocious. He was god awful. He was just a mess. And like we talked about before, with the LA Clippers having that colossal loss in the playoffs to Houston, them taking a huge gamble on Lance Stevenson and taking him off of Charlotte's hands, because trust me, didn't nobody want him. That was something that really put a shock to me per se. But the biggest free agency signing going on right now to me, obviously, is LaMarcus Aldridge. I don't think he wants to stay in Portland.
He's taking a tour.
Yeah, he's taking a serious tour, but I kind of call that a mellow, doing the mellow, because last year you saw the same thing. Carmelo Anthony said, I don't know if I want to stay in New York, and he visited Chicago, visited Dallas, Houston, LA, but ended up signing in New York. So, but the thing is with Marcus Aldridge is, even though he wants to explore his options, the Blazers can give him $30 million more than everybody else. So it's the same thing. So Is his happiness in wanting to win a title, kind of like Kevin Love wanting to win a title, worth leaving $30 million on the table in Portland? Now, it has been done because Dwight Howard did it in L.A. So that's the key right now.
It's no secret that DeMarcus Cousins is squarely on the trading block in Sacramento. And the Los Angeles Lakers seem to be the most interested suitor. So can you do me a favor and forecast the future of DeMarcus Cousins?
Okay, let's talk about the George Karl thing for a second.
Okay.
He got signed in February, man. How you get close? What can you do in 4 to 5 months to make an organization so mad that they want to fire you just after they signed you? That boggles the mind to me. That's one. What has George Karl done? Because I mean, really, we could go to Sacramento, and everybody would love us for 4 to 5 months. I mean, you can't be there long enough to annoy people enough to be fired at that extent. I mean, look, I'm just saying, Sacramento, Vlade, hey, it's me, bro. Ronald Akers will take over for George Karl 10 cents on the dollar, and I will work with DeMarcus Cousins.
Okay.
Now my rant is over. Now, because they've already said they've already talked to John Calipari. Calipari said he's not leaving Kentucky. Believe that. He's not going anywhere. I think they would have to give him almost $1 billion. They don't have to give him the franchise for Calipari to leave Kentucky. Here's the problem with the Sacramento Kings. The organization is a mess. Thorough mess. And I'm talking about from the ownership all the way down to the players. It is a hot mess. DeMarcus Cousins, I don't think wants to be there.
I mean,
that's the key.
That's clear, yeah.
I don't think he wants to be there. And with DeMarcus Cousins, and one, everybody says that Brook Lopez is one of the best offensive centers in the NBA. No, DeMarcus Cousins is. Can't nobody stop him. If he can actually keep his emotions in check, he could be the next Shaq. He is that dominant. He is that skilled. He is one of the best centers in the world, far and away, and can destroy anybody that you can think of. Dwight Howard, Brook Lopez, it does not matter. DeMarcus Cousins is a beast, and everybody knows this. Problem is, he does not want to stay in Sacramento, and it does not matter when his contract's up, and it's coming up soon. He can walk, and he just walks away. Sacramento cannot afford to let him walk away for nothing. If they do trade him, they're trading him because they know that he's not going to stay. Now the trust is already gone. So if the trust is already gone, he's not the most calm. He's not the calmest guy in the world anyway. If they're trying to keep him, they're doing it. Sacramento is doing everything to appease him, but I think that ship has sailed because George Karl, they just signed him to a 2 or 3 year deal. What are they gonna do with him? They already fired Mike Malone. What do you want? I mean, they're gonna be paying so many coaches and whatnot. The organization's gonna run out of business from just paying coaches.
And in terms of do you think he'll eventually DeMarcus Cousins end up with the Lakers in there?
I'm not sure. It's too tough. It's hard to say right now because money still talks. And if Sacramento is going through this much trouble to appease him now, when his contract is up, think about how much they're going to, and with the TV deal coming down the line, if they give him a $200 million deal and it's $30-40 million more than the Lakers can pay him, I mean, he could stay. And think about the power that he has right now. If he has the power within the organization that the entire the owner, the GM, everybody is willing to bow down to him, that's LeBron power. So you never know. You never know what's in DeMarcus Cousins' head, and it's not. I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but you really don't know what's going on in this situation. It's got to play itself out.
The Los Angeles Lakers have nearly $23 million in cap space to spend. How do you think they'll allocate that money? Does anyone want to play with Kobe Bryant, in your opinion? And what's the first item of business on Mitch Kupchak's to-do list?
One, he needs to pray, because I don't think any free agents want. I don't think any free agents really want to play in LA. LA is not the glory place to go anymore. Isn't it funny that New York, Boston, and LA used to be the glory place? Everybody wanted to go there. Mm-hmm. It's just not the case anymore.
No.
Right now, the problem is Kobe Bryant. Does big name free agents like Melo, like the same? I mean, what they said about Carmelo is, will Kobe Bryant be willing to take a step back to let free agents come in and shine? I mean, players are going to want to shine regardless. It's not about we want to win. They want shots too. They want playing time too. They want to be in with a system that's conducive to winning as well. And they have to have a plan of building. As long as Jim Buss is the owner, is running the team, look, NBA is a real small place. I don't see free agents knocking down their door the way they used to.
With the salary cap dramatically expected to increase in 2016, how do you think it'll affect this year's free agent crop? In your opinion, which new NBA head coach will have the biggest impact?
Because they're getting, I can see right now some of these contracts that they're getting, some of these players are getting now. Think about it. Paul Millsap has a 4-year, $80 million deal on the table, not from just Atlanta, but Orlando.
Yeah.
Two teams. In other words, he on the golf course saying, "Do I want to play in Orlando, or do I want to stay in Atlanta?" Millsap is not a $20 million a year player. No, now, he played well last year, but he's not worth he's 30 years old now. Are you going to pay a 34-year-old guy $20 million? Is he worth that amount much money? So basically, the money that these guys are getting is ridiculous. Karl, he got average of $16-17 million. Tristan Thompson is about to get 80, and Tristan Thompson can't score.
No, he can't.
Unless he's getting it off the board. He's just not the money. I think what's going on is these players are getting good players are getting great player money, and I think right now with this TV deal, that's the effect, and that could be a bad thing for the people in the front office, because after a while they're going to say, "Look, we're spending too much money," and basically we're setting ourselves up for yet another NBA strike 4 or 5 years down the road.
In your opinion, which new NBA head coach will have the biggest impact on his team next season?
Honestly, George Karl. Karl. Because I know he was on the back end of coached a little bit for a few minutes last year, but George Karl is going to be the biggest impact. A lot of NBA players do not like playing for him. He's known as a snake to many NBA players, but the fact remains is that Sacramento needs to keep him on the coach's bench. They need to keep him. There's nobody that's better than he is. And he does annoy people. He does nag the ears off of Billy Goat. But he does have the knowledge to make DeMarcus Cousins a better player. If rumors, from what I hear, is true, if Rajon Rondo gets signed by the Sacramento Kings, he can put together an efficient offense to make Sacramento Kings a playoff team next year. Man, that as much dysfunction that they have, they could make noise next year. So I look out for George Karl and the Sacramento Kings.
Which under the radar off-season headline will you be keeping your eye on this summer?
The Goran Dragic signing back in Miami. He got a 5-year deal at $90 million. Okay, here's the situation. They haven't signed D Wade yet. Dwayne Wade he opted out. He opted out his $16.1 million contract for next year. Now that you done signed Goran Dragic, who still is not as good a player as D Wade is now, I'll take D Wade with 2 bad knees over Goran Dragic now. You pay him $90 million, okay, fine. What are you going to do? Are you going to give Dwayne Wade his Kobe deal? Because you remember last year, he opted out last year. The Heat said, hey, this is what's going to happen. Take this pay cut so we could pay LeBron. LeBron didn't stay. So I guess D Wade is saying, hey, where's my money from last year? And I want to finish my career out here in Miami. So it's going to be very interesting how that plays itself out. Because they're going to have to, because D Wade's is man too. Now he's never been high on Miami Heat team. That's amazing, but it's the truth. But right now, we need to know now, what does Pat Riley have under his sleeve? Is he trying to make another run for a major free agent when Kevin Durant opts out of his contract in Oklahoma City? How is he going to build his squad? How is he going to build his team? How is he going to build his team up to make another championship run? That's basically the headline that I'll be looking at during the free agency period.
Locally, our viewers are locked in on what happens with the Pistons and the Raptors, respectively. Can you give me a thumbnail of what you think both of those franchises will do this offseason?
First with Toronto. Now that they got Karl from Atlanta, and they signed him in his free agent deal, you can see now that they're going to go small. You can see now they're going small, and also they're going to take a look at Wes Matthews as well. If Wes Matthews comes in, you can see now they're going to do that Golden State type of offense, running small, efficient running the ball small and efficient, being a strong defensive type of squad. So that's what they're trying to do. I think Toronto is on a decline. I think I said it on another radio show that Kyle Lowry is only as good as his situation is. If things are going well, hey, he can be an all-star. When things aren't going very well, he tends to start pouting, and you saw it during the Washington Wizards series. He exploded. When they were getting close to getting swept, you could see him throwing towels down, kicking chairs, and everything like that. So he's going to have to improve on his maturity level. That's going to be a key thing too. But they're going to have to improve on their defense. They were bad in the last part of the season, and Paul Pierce pretty much played them like a tune from the last week of the season all the way through the sweep of in the first round of the playoffs. As for Detroit, Kevin, I don't know what they're doing, but the big thing is they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with Greg Monroe first. They have to figure out what they're going to do with him first. They are loaded on the front line. They got Andre Drummond they got to deal with. They got Greg Monroe. They're still paying off Josh Smith. You know, they're still paying him from the stretch provision. I don't know exactly. Stan Van Gundy we're going to figure out now if he's a good general manager or president of basketball operations this year. This is where we're going to realize, is he a coach or is he a general manager or both, which is very difficult. I think he's already made mistakes as a general manager. That's why they brought Arn Tellem in. Right now, it's really up in the air, and they're going to find a way to re-sign Reggie Jackson too.
And just following up, what mistakes do you think he's already made as a general manager or coach?
General manager, he's done a good job as a coach, but the first thing he did, he sent Josh Smith away for a box of Newports and Puma sweats, and the stretch provision, because the stretch provision counts against the salary cap until 2019, 2020. They're still paying him $5 million a year. That's still on the salary cap. If you're going to get rid of Josh Smith, and they had to get rid of him, let's be clear on that. Get something out of it. Get something. I mean, you have to get something out of this deal. You just can't let him walk away and then continue to pay him for the next 5 years, because that's a salary cap problem, and it's going to bite him. It's going to bite him in the next couple of years. Maybe not now. Maybe not the next couple of years. But if they want to make a serious trade or make a deal, that's going to hinder them down the line. And also, it looks like the Detroit Pistons are showing a little bit of a tail bringing Arn in. In other words, I think Stan Van Gundy knows talent, but to be able to financially control everything and deal with that talent, I think he's struggling with that. That's why they brought Arn in, the former agent, in to help him with that. I think he's made some mistakes behind the scenes that we really don't know about yet until probably next year, but that Josh Smith thing was huge.
My final question for you is this. Can you assess for me the biggest lesson the NBA learned during this past season as they look to grow the game into the future?
I learned this year the dynamics is going to change. This is NBA is a copycat league. It's going to be a lot more small ball for a lot of teams. I think the center position is going to die out. If you notice the big time players, big men, the Dwight Howards, the Brook Lopez's, even through to the final, Timofey Mozgov, you can throw him in the mix. They can be exposed. They can be exposed by smaller teams if they have enough talent to bring them out of the middle, so they can't be rim protectors. In other words, they make them pretty much a liability. Andrew Bogut was completely atrocious during the NBA Finals. Perfect example. As soon as Andrew Bogut sits down for the rest of the finals, basically, Golden State goes nuts and they end up winning the NBA title. So I think that's one thing they're going to do is that a lot of teams are going to start looking at the small athletic way of running their teams. The NBA is going to have to look at a way to protect the players from injuries. Think about the injuries they went through this year. Kyle Korver was out. Kyrie Irving got hurt. Kevin Love got hurt. The playoffs basically, Stephen Curry, and God bless him that he actually made it through that, because the fall that he took, even though it was a freak accident, look at the possibilities that it could have gone to any way of possibilities. He could have really gotten seriously hurt. They have to figure out a way to make sure that these players can be more physically safer. In other words, give them more time in between games. Stop doing these back-to-backs. Give them more time to rest during the All-Star break. They're going to have to figure out a way to keep these players healthy throughout the season.
Well, Ronald, we appreciate your insights and opinions, and thank you for joining us this afternoon on the Two-Man Advantage podcast.
Oh, no problem, man. Good to see you again.
You too.